Okay, starting a business is actually so much easier than what you think. And I'm here to explain exactly why and pretty much just like walk you guys through my journey as well, because there's a couple of things that I want to share with you that is probably going to help you out a ton, especially if you're just starting out. We're kind of lost in the sauce nowadays. There's so much information, you probably don't even know where to begin. And there's a couple different things I'll walk you through. But to just like be completely blunt and keep things very simple, first of all, you don't need to overcomplicate things because business is simply just three things: it's solving a problem and finding that type of customer or the person that wants that problem solved, and then offering your service to solve that problem and get paid for it, right? It's pretty much like those are the three main things. That is what a business is. And what tends to happen, and I've been there myself, so don't worry, I'll teach you guys how to actually get out of this. But what tends to happen is that most of you think you have to know everything before you can even start. And I'm just here to tell you that that's the furthest thing from the truth. So don't do that at all costs. I'm telling you, I was the guy who was doing a bunch of research, was on my phone, on my computer, doing all this research, trying to figure everything out, make sure everything was perfect before I even started. And then you realize that that's pretty much like an endless trap you'll never get out of, because there's always something you can know. There's always something you have to learn, always something that comes up, but there's no real reason to actually learn all these things so in depth before you even started. Like, just I'll tell you this firsthand, right? Because now some of you know my story, some of you don't. But essentially, I was in sales, doing high ticket sales for the longest time. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically just selling high ticket services online through Zoom calls for usually brands or influencers you see online. So I worked for a lot of people that have pretty much like millions and millions of followers online, and you're selling coaching, info services, whatever, to regular ass guys like me and you, just selling them like 5K packages, 7K packages. And people were like willing to pay because they genuinely believe that this was actually going to help them get to where they want to go. Some made it, some didn't, but that's how it is, right? Some put the work in and some don't. And that's why I'm here to actually teach you why business is way simpler than you think. I went from high ticket sales, transitioning now into running our own AI agency, where we're kind of implementing AI and acquisition and conversion systems into local and different businesses, because that's a real problem that they have. So we have the solution to solve this. We find them, we offer our service, we do it for them, and we get paid. It's really that simple. But I didn't realize this until I actually started, because one of the main things I was doing when it came to sales was I was basically doing all the heavy lifting, but wasn't really left with a lot of money. Even though I was making 10, 20, 30K months, right? I still wasn't like, yo, I'm generating these people $300,000 and I'm just sitting here with 30K. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of money for a lot of people, but I wanted to be the guy that was sitting with 300K and not the 30K, right? So that's when I realized that, yo, if you want to be that person that has a 300K, you need to actually start a business. So I started looking into it. How do you actually make a business, or how do you start a business? What's the whole thing? And then everybody, and this is probably you, like we've all been there, just like going up and trying to get an LLC or just signing up forms and all this shit. And like, dude, none of that matters until you've actually started. Like, why the fuck are you worrying about taxes, LLCs, and shit like that when you haven't even made money from your service or the business that you're doing, right? It's crazy to me, but I've been there too, like trying to search these things up, but it doesn't matter. What matters is actually, first of all, getting this thing up and running and generating some cash flow, right? Because you're going to learn as you go. Stop trying to learn everything from the get go and then start doing it. Just start learning already, kind of not half assed, but just like get into what you want to do. So, for instance, when it came to our AI agency, it's not really, I guess, the hardest thing to start. The hardest part about it is just like actually getting clients, right? Because there's different ways of doing it, outreach, marketing, etc., etc. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But just setting this thing up, is way easier than you think because we have a business. Like, it doesn't have to be as complicated as most of you guys think it should be. So, to set this thing up, basically what you need is just a CRM to begin with, so you can actually acquire all these leads. You need a website so these leads can actually book in, and just set up your calendar, have a website so people can book in. And once that's done, that's pretty much all you need. Like, dude, you have a running business. There's not really much to say. We set up our CRM, we made some videos, we set up a website. It's like super simple shit. Once that's done, you basically have a running business. Now it's just about getting clients and getting people through the door, offering your service, getting good testimonials, etc., etc. Like, any business is going to work on these core principles. You're solving a problem, you're finding the right person to solve this problem for, you offer to solve it and get paid in return. It's as simple as that. So why are you out here trying to overcomplicate things? Why are you out here trying to find the perfect domain or make the perfect logo or do all this BS? I always talk about this, by the way, and it's mainly just like focusing on money making activities. Like, you've probably heard about the 80-20 rule, right? Doing a like this 80% of the work is only giving you 20% of the results, or vice versa. The 20% of work that is actually going to get you 80% of the results, right? So why are you out here doing all of this nonsense BS when that's not what's actually going to move the needle forward, right? Like, if you just knew, and obviously it's way easier said than done, but if you knew, and you probably know as well, but you know deep down, like, what's actually going to make you money, what's actually going to move the, excuse me, what's actually going to move the needle forward, what's actually going to get you closer to your goal. Well, it's not doing this random thing over here. It's actually doing the work that you're probably avoiding because it's the hard thing to do. It's the boring thing to do. But that's the tasks that are actually going to get you closer. So what you have to do is just like actually cut away the ego, focus on what really matters, focus on what's going to move the needle forward, even if it's boring, even if it's not what you want to do, etc., etc. Just just be like, fuck, I gotta do this, you know? And then you just do it. Like, there's no way going around it. It's like, well, when you're supposed to study for a test in school that you don't really want to do, you hate this test, you hate this subject, but you still have to practice, you still have to learn, you still have to go through it. So you might as well just like get started with it, right? It's the same exact thing. Business isn't always fun. It's not so complicated. It's really not as complicated as most of you think because you're all trying to make business fun, but it's not always fun. There are tasks that you have to do which you don't really feel like doing. There are things that are going to come up which is going to be challenging, which is not going to be fun, which is going to stress you the fuck out. But you still have to get things done. Otherwise, you're just going to be swimming in the ocean and the waves just going to take you and blast you in the in stones, right? So it's really not as complicated as you guys think. It is very simple, but it's not easy, right? Because there are things that you really don't want to do, which you'll have to end up doing. But suck up to it and just like actually start doing it because that's what's going to move you forward. So if you know that there's a couple of things, if doesn't even have to be business, it can be anything in life. If you know there's a couple of things that you kind of have been avoiding for some time now, you might as well just actually start getting them done because once you get them done, you're going to realize things are going to move closer to your goals. And once they do, you gain that momentum. And that momentum, trust me, that's a dangerous thing because that really pushes you to want to do more. And once you actually get that momentum, once the ball starts rolling, you'll realize that the boring tasks that you didn't really want to do is going to become more fun and you're going to have a way better time actually doing those things because now you actually feel that momentum and you feel like it's going to get you to your goals. But in the beginning, when you're really just avoiding it, not wanting to do it, you're comfortable. You're supposed to do things you're not doing. So once you start actually doing those things, that's when you'll feel the fun. really. Trust me. It might sound a little bit crazy, but that is really the reality of the situation. So don't overcomplicate business. It's way simpler than you think. And I was even just like looking at a couple of things pretty recently. This is a little bit not really too much off topic, but a bit of a rant, like from the sidelines. Essentially, what I saw is that there's people out there that are making money in the most like quote unquote generic ways. Like I saw this video of a guy that pulled up with like a crazy Ferrari, and then he's like, "Yo, what do you do for work? What do you do for a living?" And he was just like, "Oh, you know those plastic spoons that you, you know those plastic spoons that you see at the restaurant? Well, I just saw those." So it's like, dude, this blows your mind. Like this guy's driving a fucking Ferrari, making millions and millions of dollars, and he's just selling plastic spoons to restaurants. So like you can make money in the most generic ways possible. Like if you look at the founder of Oakberry, if you guys know, I was just looking at him because he's with this pretty popular tennis player. She's pretty famous and whatnot. So and they just got engaged. So I was looking at him and he's like, who is this guy? He's 36 years old, whatever. And he's like just a founder, right? He just founded basically a regular ass coffee shop or just like a smoothie bowl place. And now it's super popular. But that's like just the most generic thing, the most average thing, the most normal thing anybody would do like 200 years ago. Just found some sort of store where you sell food. So it's like anybody can do these things. And that's probably way harder than doing all this internet shit that we're trying to do right now, right? Because if you keep the internet businesses simple, you have so much leverage, so much free time, so much freedom as long as you do it properly. Now, is it more boring? Probably. You have no place to shop, you know, have no real vision of how things look like because it's not physical. But trust me, if you go through that boring work, you'll reap the benefits off of this for sure. So if you guys need any help, any motivation, or any you feel like you're stuck in some sort of place, just comment down below. I'm happy to help. I'll leave my Instagram as well if you want to send me a DM a bit more personal. I'm always happy to help. Like I literally just make these videos right now just to more so practice my speaking as well as just share my ideas almost for myself because I have so much value, so much experience over the years, which I've never really shared. So now I'm just sharing pretty much everything for the people that see it. Some people see it, some people don't, is what it is. At least I have my own archive. So I hope you guys actually found some value off of this. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.